You need to be grounded in your power, knowing that you know what the fuck you're talking about. You need to learn how to create content that is actually going to reflect what you're embodying. Instead of trying to compare yourself, instead of thinking that there's a perfect formula to create content, you're going to create it with your own ideas, with your own thoughts, and from a place of full embodiment. You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you've come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in. Hi friends, so happy to have you here today. Before we dive into today's episode, I just want to let you know that next week the birthday sale starts. So I turned 33 on Friday, March 21st. I know, you guys are like, what, 33? You look 18. I know guys. Really good retinol, Botox, that is the secret, okay? Just kidding. Yes, I am turning 33, and that means that we have another annual birthday sale happening. So this birthday sale is happening for only 48 hours between next Wednesday, March 19th and Thursday, March 20th. Those 2 days are the only days that you'll be able to get my courses, my bundles, and my masterclasses for 50% off, or you can join the From Imposter to Empowered program and save $333 on your first payment and get one-to-one calls for the duration of your contract inside of that program. You can also opt to join a birthday sale exclusive intensive, which is a 90-minute intensive with me and 2 weeks in Telegram following the intensive for only $555. These are the sales going down for next week for the birthday sale. And again, it's only running from Wednesday, March 19th to Thursday, March 20th, and all of the sales will expire on the 20th at midnight. So you'll turn into a pumpkin if you don't fucking take advantage of the birthday sale, okay? So let's dive into today's episode on why your income isn't exploding like it fucking could. I would directly relate this back to your content, but not in the way of, like you're not using the right content framework or you're not saying the right things. The problem is you are not fully fucking embodied in your work. And because I'm an imposter syndrome expert, this is something that I'm going to directly call you out on because it's going to blow up your sales when you actually feel embodied in the work that you're doing. Once you get through the fucking shame and you fully own who you are, what you've done, and what you've achieved, once you do that, it's going to be so easy to create content from that place. It's going to be so easy to talk about what it is you do and to sell your offers because you're not spending so much time thinking, how can I word this in a way that's going to be magnetic? How am I going to show them that they're going to achieve all of their fucking dreams and more simply by doing this $50 masterclass, right? Like you don't need to promise the sun, the moon, and the fucking stars because what you're offering is enough because you feel like enough. You heard me tell the story about how in 2019 I made $12,000 in my business and then I went on to make $130,000 in 2020. In 2019, the reason why I really only brought in $12,000 total was because I did not fully feel embodied in my work in terms of imposter syndrome and mindset. I was actually experiencing a lot of the things I talked about when it came to feeling like an imposter as a business owner. Even though I was able to highlight that this was a real thing for entrepreneurs I had been working on, I was still really feeling it too at that point. I was still feeling the effects of feeling like a fraud and not feeling good enough. And there was a time where somebody reached out to me and was like, hey, I really want to do a session on overcoming imposter syndrome. And I stressed out about it for weeks. She actually ended up canceling this session and I was so relieved. There was another time when somebody reached out to me and was like, hey, I really want to do your imposter syndrome intensive. And I actually ended up referring her to somebody else. And I referred her to somebody else because I felt like such a fraud, even though I was talking about imposter syndrome. But I hadn't been doing the mindset work that I needed to be doing. I was talking about imposter syndrome, but in terms of tangible tools and things I could help people with, I didn't really have a lot of that stuff. I was just talking about imposter syndrome. And there were people inquiring about coaching, but I really wasn't showing up and saying, I'm an expert and this work is going to help you do X, Y, Z. I was just like, I'm talking about imposter syndrome, blah, blah, blah. But really, it's because I felt it. I felt like an imposter. I didn't feel good enough to run my business. This was a pattern I had seen throughout my entire life. So even though I was very close to it, it was because I was experiencing it at the same time. But then when I started utilizing subconscious mind tools, when I got certified in these tools, when I started doing the nervous system regulation work, it started to bring a tangibility to the work that I did because I had tools. I could help people. I could help people overcome these things that they were experiencing, and it was a great way to really ground in the work that I was doing. I hired coaches, I did the mindset work, and that is when my coaching really started to take off because there was a tangible shift in my content. I was really speaking to their pain points and I was speaking to what they were experiencing, but I had something behind the scenes to back it up, and I knew that as soon as somebody was going to come into my world, they were going to have a huge transformation, and that could be felt through my content. And I started signing more and more clients. I had more client testimonials, client stories, and results, and it has just obviously compounded since then. And that was when I learned that there is a side to this work that is completely energetic and is completely felt through the screen. Have you ever seen somebody's Instagram and you're just like, I just know that you don't have confidence, right? Like, have you ever looked at your own post and been like, there's just something fucking missing here, right? And this is not to shame you. This is to call you forward. There is no content framework, no strategy that is going to replace you having confidence in yourself. You really feel it. You don't need to say all this crazy shit to get somebody to buy because you're just so grounded in what you do and how you're going to help somebody transform. The problem is we get so caught up with other people. We get so caught up with what other people are doing, what other people are saying, and we start spiraling. We start questioning ourselves and thinking, should I be talking about that result? Should I be talking about this? Should I be going bigger when it comes to the results that I offer? Is my client's story not enough? Is my story not enough? It's like a health coach that's having a hard time with certain aspects of their journey, even though they have overcome so much and accomplished so much. They think that they have to meet people at the end of their journey, at the most healed, at the most amazing place, when actually where they are on their own journey is perfect. There are people who are even farther behind them who just want to get to where they fucking are. While you may not be lying because you know where you're headed, you're stretching beyond your current embodiment because that's what you believe will sell. You think you have to promise the sun, the moon, the stars because everybody around you is. It's as if you're silently competing with other people. Social media is such a curse for this because it's amazing that we're able to create and do things for free and show up and sell our services online, but you have to have really strong boundaries when you are prone to this, because when it comes to content that we consume, we allow it to dictate our moves and our thoughts more than we realize. Because you're too fucking good to let a post from another creator stop you from sharing that amazing client story, stop you from sharing those thoughts about yourself and your journey just because you don't think it's good enough. There are always going to be people that are behind you. There are always going to be people who are struggling with the very thing that you've overcome, whether it's a thought, whether it's a consistent feeling, whether it's an everyday experience for them. Like, one of my past clients is a life coach that helps women get sober, and she came to work with me because she was feeling imposter syndrome and the fact that, she really had only been sober for a year, and why would anybody pay her when she had only been sober for a year? And it's not that she was only sober for a year. That's a fucking long time and a huge accomplishment. There are people who cannot be sober for a day, for a month, for a couple of weeks. There are people at every stage of the journey, and it's just your job to speak to them and for you to have the courage to speak to them and say, I can help you. You may be just stretching your message a little bit too big, a little bit too flashy, a little bit more successful than you are, because that's what you think will make people buy from you. But all you're doing is proving to yourself every day that what you've done isn't good enough to make money, that who you are right now and what you've done isn't good enough for your potential clients. And you're just creating a shitty experience for yourself when you sell. You feel like a fraud. The self-doubt and anxiety creeps in. You feel like a goddamn circus animal performing until somebody finally bites, when the answer is in you fully fucking owning where you are, where you've been, the clients that you've worked with, the results that you've gotten for yourself, the results you've gotten for the clients around you, and showing yourself often that this is good enough, showing yourself that you can sign clients from that place. You think that being bigger, flashier, presenting yourself as more than what you actually are is what's going to sign you clients, but here's the thing, your best clients don't want to be led by someone who's trying to be perfect. This is a charade that you'll feel you need to continuously keep up even after you sign them. If there is anxiety and panic in signing a client, if you already have the default thought of like, I'm not going to be good enough for them or they're going to be disappointed, or something to that effect, that is going to continue even when you are working with them, even when they've paid you money, even more so actually. Like, I actually have a client that has a 100% client success rate, and she almost like shyly said that to me on a call one time inside of the From Imposter to Empowered program. And she said, like, I've only had 3 clients. It was something to that effect. And I was like, and? Like, and what? Like, you've signed 3 clients and all 3 of them have gotten 100% success rate. Like, you should be screaming that from the fucking rooftops all the fucking time. You don't even have to say it's been only 3 clients, only, again, in quotations. But as soon as she told me that, when her and I first started working together, I was like, that is no small feat. That is such a big fucking deal. And you need to learn how to blow your shit up in terms of like, yeah, my clients have had a 100% success rate. And people are so afraid to be redundant. That's the other thing too. They're so afraid to say the same shit over and over and over again. But that is what's building your brand. That is what's growing your impact. That is what people are seeing over and over again. And they're getting accustomed to your story and getting accustomed to what it is you do. You could be doing this, and that is you say something and then you never fucking say it again. And you think you have to create new ideas constantly. But what you're doing is you're actually making it harder for someone to decide to work with you, because you already have the success, you already have the stories you need, you already have the client results that you want, right? It's just up to you to repeat them over and over again. It's just your fucking brain telling you that you're being redundant and that nobody cares and that you're saying the same things over and over again. But that is what the big brands actually do. That is what people with big fucking brands do. They repeat themselves over and over again. And it's a damn shame that you are not blowing up the results that you've gotten people, even if they were a free client, even if they paid you half of what you charge now. What really matters is the fact that you helped them. What really matters is the fact that your shit fucking works, even if it's just been for you. And not leaning into that, thinking that there is another way, like you need another strategy, you need to learn another perfect framework or another thing that you need to do, is merely you trying to keep up with the Joneses. You're trying to keep up with everybody else that you see online. You're thinking that the results you need to talk about online need to be these insane, crazy, never been seen before things. And yeah, you've never seen them before because you're not fully embodied behind your message. And this is the From Imposter to Empowered podcast, you guys. So obviously we're going to talk about how this is only going to exacerbate your imposter syndrome. This is only going to make you feel worse about yourself. This is only going to make you feel more like a fraud. It's going to make everything take longer in terms of creating content, showing up and selling, because everything feels like such a performance because it's not truly authentic to you. And you have to genuinely think about this. This is different than content taking time in regards to like, okay, what kind of content should I be creating? How do I do this in Canva, etc. But when you're not fully embodied in the things that you're talking about, you just know, like you can feel it. And it feels like I have to say this, I have to say it in this way. I saw this person do it in this way, so now I have to say it in that way because it seems to be working for her. And another thing, guys, when you're looking at somebody's social media, I don't give a fuck if there are so many screenshots of people signing clients. You never get the full picture from a post. Comparing yourself to someone who's been doing it for years longer than you, someone who's in a different niche, someone that this, someone that, it's going to do nothing for you. And when you struggle with imposter syndrome and you're looking at what everybody else is doing, it has to come from you. It has to come from you. Your content, your ideas, your thoughts, the things that you know you can help your clients with. They have to come from you, from what you've accomplished and from what you've done. And if you're like, I don't feel like it's good enough because I don't have enough content to share, this is bullshit. And I'll tell you why. When you struggle with imposter syndrome, it's almost like you go into a freeze state when you go to create content. This is also a nervous system regulation thing. When you feel more calm, regulated, and open, it's going to be easier for you to create because you're not stressed out and in total self-doubt. You're not stressed out and in total imposter syndrome either, right? But what happens is sometimes people will sit down and they'll start. The self-doubt will start and the imposter syndrome will start and they can't create. They freeze up when it comes to creating content, doing the blog, showing up online, whatever it is. They freeze. So what I want you to do, I want you to make it a habit that when you have an idea, you write it down in your notes app. When something comes up, I don't give a fuck if you're in the shower, you turn off the water and you write that shit down. Okay, and create channels that you can easily get to when it comes to your ideas and your wins. So very early on in my journey with imposter syndrome, when I was talking about how to overcome it, one of my tips was to keep an accomplishment journal. If you've gone all the way back in the podcast, you will hear me say that over and over again, like way back. I'm talking like 2019 back. And I would say keep an accomplishment journal. If you keep an accomplishment journal and you make it a habit every day, every couple of days, or every week to write down the things that you've achieved, or even your client results, the wins your clients are getting on calls, the things they say to you. Like, I started really paying attention to that stuff. I started sending out intake forms and feedback forms. And whenever like I would get a client win or something like that, I would screenshot it and put it into an actual folder that I could then scroll through and look at. So the accomplishment journal and a screenshot folder where I keep all my client results in terms of the offer that they came from, etc. So we need to create these ways to support ourselves with imposter syndrome instead of just trying to pretend that it doesn't exist. We all want to be that one person who says, I don't know what it is, I don't experience that. We all want to be Ilona Mar saying that, right? Like, I don't have imposter syndrome, but not everybody is the same. And if you have a brain that is predisposed to feeling like a fraud and having this feeling of not belonging and not feeling good enough, it's okay that you are putting things in place so you can feel confident, so you can feel good about yourself, and so you can continuously remind yourself who the fuck you are. It's just like having ADHD. It's so similar to being diagnosed. When I learned that I had it, I started being like, what are the things that I can put in place to support me having ADHD? And I had already subconsciously been doing it. I knew how I operated, and I knew that this is how I do a task. This is how I do this. This is how I do that. But when I got properly diagnosed, I was like, oh, there's a reason why my brain is like this. There is a reason why I will put something off until the last second or until there's a deadline. There's a reason why I have so many fucking feelings and they're always hitting me so hard. And sometimes it feels like I'm on an emotional roller coaster, especially during my luteal phase. It gave me context. It gave me understanding. And then I reacted accordingly. And the same thing goes for imposter syndrome. There are just so many things that start to make sense when you can put a name to them or when you can define them. And at the same time, we don't want to be a victim to our labels, but we can use them to understand our behavior and understand our feelings. So from that place, we can identify, you know what, imposter syndrome is something that I do feel, but it doesn't have to be a problem. Here are the things that I'm going to put in place so I can stay centered, so I can stay grounded, so I can believe in myself, right? This is how you need to talk to yourself. And this is why we do the mindset work. This is why we do the subconscious belief work. That's why we do the nervous system regulation work. These are the core things we do inside of the From Imposter to Empowered program, because when you're doing those things, you are putting things in place to support just who you are as a fucking person. Because who you are is not a problem. Who you are is actually perfect. And in order to share your gift, in order to be a leader for other people, in order to own your voice, that might mean that you have to put things in place to support you when you do feel like a fraud, when things do come up, when beliefs come up, when you get dysregulated, because that's fucking inevitable. And you don't need to feel shame about that. You don't need to feel shame about it at all. You can instead put things in place that are going to support you in times when you need it. So there are things that you can do for your content process. There are things you can do for when you feel like a fraud and you need to be reminded about who the fuck you are. There are things that you can do and you'll realize that you're actually very embodied. You actually do know what you're talking about. When you talk about the things that you're embodied in, you actually are so fucking talented and so fucking good at what you do, and you genuinely feel it, right? You've just been trying to play the catch-up game lately. You've just been trying to play the game that someone else is playing, when you need to get the fuck over in your own lane, play your own fucking game, okay? You need to throw the bowling ball down your lane and you're gonna hit something. But if you keep trying to get it into somebody else's lane, that's why you keep getting it in the gutter. Okay, I don't know where I was going with that metaphor, but you get what I mean. And this is why you need to be inside of the From Imposter to Empowered program, because you need to change the way that you see yourself. You need to change the shame that you feel around getting help, around getting support, around feeling like a fraud, around not feeling confident, and around feeling awkward when you sell. You need to be grounded in your power, knowing that you know what the fuck you're talking about. You need to learn how to create content that is actually going to reflect what you're embodying. Instead of trying to compare yourself, instead of thinking that there's a perfect formula to create content, you're going to create it with your own ideas, with your own thoughts, and from a place of full embodiment. And you're going to sell the fuck out of your offers. You're going to sell your offers that you're very excited to sell. You're going to get personalized, customizable strategy for you and your business and the way that you want to grow, so you can sell mid and high ticket offers to 5K and 10K months. And that's literally just the beginning. There is literally nobody in the online space that I know who is talking about imposter syndrome in this way and combining it with the business strategy. That's because I know that it can be a number one killer of your business, and it will seep into every area of your business if you're not careful. It will affect your content. It will affect your sales. It will affect every single piece of your business if you do not fucking deal with it. It doesn't mean anything about you that you struggle with imposter syndrome, but what it is doing is affecting how you sell, how you show up, how you create, how you coach your clients, and the money that you're fucking making. We need to nip that shit in the bud now, and you're going to do it in the From Imposter to Empowered program. So come and get coached by me. You get curriculum and coaching inside of this premium coaching membership. You can join for 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months, and I can't wait to see you in there and fucking coach you, okay? And don't forget, the birthday sale is next week, and it's for 48 hours only. It's for next Wednesday, March 19th and Thursday, March 20th. My actual birthday is on Friday, March 21st. But as I said, I'm going to be at the fucking spa with my best friends, okay? Chilling, enjoying my 33rd birthday. So the birthday sale is for next Wednesday and Thursday for 48 hours only. You can get any of my courses, bundles, and masterclasses for 50% off. You can also get coached by me and join either the From Imposter to Empowered program, where you're going to get $333 off of your first payment. Whatever you decide to do, whether you join for 3 or 6 or 12 months, you also get one-to-one time. Whether you do a payment plan or pay in full, you will get one-to-one time with me because of the birthday sale. Or I am doing an intensive offer exclusively for the birthday sale, where you get a 90-minute intensive with me and 2 weeks in Telegram for just 555 bones. So you do not want to miss this birthday sale. It's happening next week. Come over and send me a DM at your Coach Jill so we can chat about it and you can get in early. I love you so much. I'll see you next week. Hey babe, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Screenshot it and put it on your stories and tag me at your Coach Jill. And if you really love me, you'll rate and review the podcast. And if you screenshot it before you submit the review and send it to me, I will send you a free gift on me. If you want to take this work deeper, come and work with me in the From Imposter to Empowered program or the Real Deal Mastermind. And finally, if you want just a snippet of my work to feel what it's like to be in my world, then you need to buy my best-selling book, You're Not Special, and you can get that on Amazon. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next week.